Listen closely because what I'm about to say could change your life. You wake up in the silence of your own space, no noise, no drama, just you. And in that silence, you realize something powerful. You realize the strength that only comes when you're alone, alone but not lonely. But alone but free. There's a peace that can only be found when you're standing on your own 2 feet, facing the world with nothing but your own willpower to guide you. Living alone builds personal strength in a way that no relationship can. It's a process that strips away the external influences that often shape who we are and forces us to rely on our own capabilities, emotions, and resilience. When you're alone, you come face to face with yourself in a way that no partnership or friendship can mirror. It's not easy, and it's not always comfortable, but it is absolutely necessary for personal growth. For most of us, the idea of being alone can be daunting. We're conditioned to believe that human connections are what define us, that relationships are the cornerstone of happiness. We look to others for validation, for support, for affirmation. But in reality, being alone allows us to discover just how capable we are without relying on others. This process of self-reliance is where true strength is born. When you live alone, every decision you make is your own. There is no one to share the burden of choice, no one to consult for advice or approval. The power of making decisions solely based on your own judgment is immense. It teaches you accountability and responsibility. If things go wrong, you have no one else to blame but yourself. But more importantly, you learn that you have the power to fix it, to change course, and to rebuild. This is the essence of personal strength. It's not about never making mistakes, but about learning to stand up after falling and taking the necessary steps to correct your path. In relationships, there's often a tendency to compromise, to mold ourselves to fit the needs and expectations of others. We do it because we want to make the other person happy, because we don't want to rock the boat, or because we fear losing their love or affection. But living alone, you don't have to compromise in that way. You don't have to put your needs or desires second. You don't have to suppress your true self to make someone else comfortable. You can make decisions that align with your values and priorities. This builds confidence and inner strength. You learn that it's okay to say no, to stand your ground, and to prioritize your own well-being. The journey of living alone forces you to confront your fears head on. You might fear loneliness, isolation, or the idea that no one will be there to support you when you need it. But when you learn to face those fears alone, you realize that you are capable of handling much more than you ever thought possible. You learn to deal with your emotions, to process your thoughts, and to navigate through life without relying on someone else to hold your hand through every challenge. This doesn't mean that you don't need other people. It simply means you are capable of thriving, even in solitude. Another key element of personal strength built by living alone is the ability to adapt and problem solve independently. Every time something goes wrong, whether it's a flat tire, a broken appliance, or an unexpected bill, you are the one who has to figure out how to fix it. You don't have the luxury of turning to someone else to solve your problems. In this process, you learn resilience. You learn that you don't have to be dependent on others to get through life's challenges. And with each problem you solve, your confidence grows. You begin to trust your own abilities more, knowing that you can handle whatever life throws your way. Moreover, living alone gives you the space to reflect on who you are without outside influence. Often in relationships, we are shaped by the other person's values, ideas, and habits. We adapt to them consciously or unconsciously, and may lose sight of our true selves in the process. But in solitude, you are free from those external pressures. You have the time and space to connect with your own thoughts, your own values, and your own desires. You can ask yourself the tough questions: what do I want out of life? Who do I want to be? What do I truly value? And you can answer them honestly without fear of judgment or disagreement. The strength that comes from living alone is not just mental or emotional, it's also physical. When you live on your own, you learn to take care of yourself in every way. You cook your own meals, clean your own space, and manage your own time. You become self-sufficient in ways that relationships can often hinder. When you are dependent on someone else, they might take care of the little things for you, or you might fall into patterns of relying on them for certain tasks. But when you live alone, you are forced to take responsibility for every aspect of your life. This physical independence further builds your self-confidence and sense of accomplishment. You realize that you are capable of managing everything on your own, and that is a powerful feeling. Living alone also teaches you the value of solitude. In a world that often glorifies constant socializing and interaction, being alone is sometimes seen as a negative thing. But in solitude, you discover that there is strength in being comfortable with yourself. There's power in being at peace in your own company. You don't need the distractions of other people to feel validated or fulfilled. You can find contentment in your own thoughts, in the things you enjoy doing by yourself. This is where true self-discovery happens. When you are alone, you have the opportunity to explore your own passions, your own interests, and your own desires without the influence or distraction of someone else's opinions. This is not to say that relationships are not important or valuable. In fact, they are. But the foundation of any healthy relationship is built on mutual respect and self-sufficiency. When you live alone, you learn to be your own best friend, your own support system, and your own source of strength. And when you do enter a relationship, you bring all of that strength with you. You are not looking for someone to complete you, but rather someone to complement you. You are not dependent on the other person for your happiness because you already know how to be happy on your own. Living alone is a transformative experience. It's a process that challenges you, teaches you, and ultimately empowers you. It teaches you that you are enough just as you are. You learn that you don't need to rely on others to define your worth or your happiness. You become stronger, more resilient, and more self-aware. And when you can stand on your own 2 feet, knowing that you have the strength to face whatever comes your way, you will be unstoppable. Living alone fosters self-love in a way that no relationship can. When you live alone, you are left to your own devices. There's no one else to care for you in the same way a partner might. And that's when you truly begin to understand the importance of self-love. It's easy to get lost in someone else's love when you're in a relationship, thinking that their affection and attention will somehow complete you. But self-love is different. It's not about finding someone who loves you. It's about loving yourself first and foremost. Self-love begins with learning to enjoy your own company, with embracing the quiet moments and taking pleasure in the activities that make you feel alive. When you're living alone, there's no one to tell you what to do or to distract you from your thoughts. You learn how to nurture yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically. There's no need to seek validation from others when you're already giving it to yourself. You learn to see your worth, not through the eyes of someone else, but through your own understanding and appreciation of who you are. Living alone forces you to confront your weaknesses and insecurities. There's no one around to cover them up or pretend they don't exist. But rather than hiding from them, you begin to address them. You learn to be compassionate with yourself, to forgive yourself, and to accept yourself for who you are. This doesn't mean you stop trying to improve or grow. It simply means that you are able to love yourself as you are, flaws and all. Self-love comes from embracing all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and realizing that you are still worthy of love and respect. When you live alone, you have the time and space to truly explore who you are. You can spend hours reflecting on your life, your values, and your goals. You can nurture your interests and passions without the distractions or demands of a partner. This is where you learn to create a fulfilling life for yourself, independent of anyone else's expectations. Your happiness is no longer tied to another person's moods or behaviors. You become the architect of your own joy. And that is the power of self-love, when you can create a life that fulfills you regardless of anyone else's presence. Another critical aspect of self-love is learning to set boundaries. When you're alone, you have the opportunity to establish clear boundaries for yourself. You learn what you need, what you want, and what you will not tolerate. You get to decide what is acceptable in your life and what isn't. This skill of boundary setting is vital because it teaches you how to protect your energy, your peace, and your time. In relationships, it's easy to let others push your boundaries, especially if you fear rejection or want to make others happy. But when you live alone, you develop the strength to say no when something doesn't feel right. You understand that your needs are just as important as anyone else's, and you can stand firm in protecting them. Self-love also involves taking care of your body. When you live alone, you have complete control over your environment. You are the one who decides what to eat, how much to sleep, and how to treat your body. You learn to listen to your body's needs and respond accordingly. Whether it's giving yourself rest when you're exhausted, eating healthy food, or making time for exercise, you are solely responsible for your well-being. This level of self-care is the foundation of self-love. You are showing yourself that you are worth the time, the effort, and the attention. Moreover, living alone teaches you the importance of self-sufficiency. When you live alone, there's no one else to depend on. If something breaks, you fix it. If you need to go somewhere, you go. This kind of independence is liberating. It builds confidence and trust in your own abilities. You learn that you are capable of handling life on your own. This independence doesn't just apply to physical tasks, it also applies to emotional resilience. You learn that you can weather life's storms on your own. And in doing so, you discover the deep well of strength that resides within you. You realize that you don't need someone else to complete you. You are already complete. In a relationship, it's easy to lose sight of who you are. You might find yourself adapting to someone else's preferences, opinions, or desires, sometimes to the point where you forget your own. But when you live alone, you are in charge of your life. You get to choose who you are and what you want without the influence of another person. You learn to embrace your authentic self, no filters, no compromises. This is the essence of self-love, the ability to be unapologetically yourself, to love yourself without needing anyone else's approval. Living alone is not about being isolated or lonely. It's about building a relationship with yourself that is rooted in love, acceptance, and understanding. It's about learning to enjoy your own company, to take care of yourself, and to embrace who you are, flaws and all. When you can love yourself in this way, you become stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for the relationships you choose to have in the future. Because when you truly love yourself, you'll never settle for anything less than the love you deserve. And that's the greatest gift you can give to yourself. Living alone provides a level of freedom that no relationship can match. This is not about being antisocial or rejecting human connection, but rather about experiencing life on your own terms. When you live alone, your life is your own. Every decision you make, from the smallest details to the most significant choices, is entirely up to you. There's no one to consult, no one to compromise with, and no one to answer to except yourself. This is an immense privilege, and it's something that many people don't fully appreciate until they've experienced it. Freedom means being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, without needing permission or approval from anyone. This includes everything from choosing how to spend your days to deciding where you want to live, how you want to decorate your space, and how you manage your time. For example, if you want to stay up late reading a book or binge watching your favorite show, you don't have to worry about disturbing someone else or negotiating your plans. The freedom to choose your own schedule without having to consider the preferences or needs of a partner can be incredibly liberating. When you're in a relationship, the dynamic changes. There are often compromises to be made, and it's easy to lose sight of your own desires in the process. It's natural to want to spend time with your partner, but it can also mean that your own hobbies, interests, or personal time take a back seat. When you live alone, you have the freedom to cultivate your own interests and passions without feeling guilty or pressure to do something else. You can take up new hobbies, travel when you want, or simply enjoy peace and quiet without anyone interrupting your thoughts. This ability to choose your own path is something that many people take for granted when they are in relationships. It's not selfish, it's about honoring your own needs, desires, and autonomy. The ability to do what you want without consideration for anyone else's schedule or priorities can be incredibly empowering. For instance, you can change your routine at the drop of a hat without consulting anyone. If you decide to take a last-minute trip or try something new on a whim, you don't need to coordinate or compromise. You're free to live in a way that feels right for you. This kind of flexibility and spontaneity allows you to experience life on your own terms, which can help you grow as an individual and give you a sense of fulfillment that is often harder to achieve when you're constantly balancing the needs of others. Additionally, living alone also offers the freedom to be completely yourself without the pressures or expectations that often come with relationships. In a relationship, you might feel compelled to act in certain ways to maintain harmony or meet the expectations of your partner. There's a certain amount of self-adjustment that often happens naturally in relationships, whether it's changing your routine, your lifestyle, or even your personality to match the dynamics of the other person. But when you live alone, you are free to express your true self. There's no need to adjust or conform to someone else's way of thinking, behaving, or living. You can embrace your quirks, pursue your dreams, and create a life that is true to who you are without the fear of judgment or change. When you're living alone, the choices are endless. You can choose who you spend time with, how you spend your time, and what you do with your day. The power of decision-making is completely in your hands, and this ability to choose freely is one of the most liberating aspects of living alone. You're in control of every aspect of your life, whether it's deciding on the music you want to listen to, the food you want to eat, or even how you spend your weekends. The world is your oyster. In relationships, these freedoms can often feel limited, as compromises are often required. But in solitude, you have the liberty to live life exactly how you want. One of the most beautiful aspects of freedom is the time it gives you to focus on your own growth. When you're not sharing your time and energy with someone else, you can dedicate yourself fully to personal development. Living alone allows you the space to reflect on your goals, values, and dreams without distractions. You have the freedom to create your vision of success and work toward it at your own pace. Whether you want to focus on your career, your physical health, or your intellectual development, living alone provides the necessary space and freedom to dive deeply into these areas without needing to divide your attention. Furthermore, living alone allows you to form a stronger connection with yourself. You have more time to listen to your inner voice, to become aware of your needs, and to understand what truly makes you happy. This connection is incredibly valuable and can lead to a much richer and more fulfilling life. Many people get lost in relationships and forget to check in with themselves, but when you live alone, that introspection becomes a natural part of your daily routine. You are constantly in touch with your own thoughts and feelings, which helps you make better decisions for yourself and your future. Ultimately, living alone offers a freedom that is often difficult to find in relationships. It allows you to be fully yourself, to make decisions without the constraints of another person's needs, and to live in a way that prioritizes your own desires and growth. It doesn't mean that relationships are unimportant or unnecessary, but it does highlight the importance of first being free and content with who you are before trying to merge your life with someone else's. Living alone is not about isolation, it's about finding the space to create a life that is uniquely yours. And when you do this, you are not only more fulfilled, but also better prepared for any future relationships that may come your way. You'll have a stronger sense of self, a deeper understanding of your needs, and a more profound appreciation for the freedom that life can offer. Living alone offers the opportunity for personal growth in ways that relationships simply can't provide. It forces you to become self-reliant, face your fears, and take responsibility for every aspect of your life. When you are living alone, you have no one else to lean on, no one to blame for your failures or shortcomings, and no one to pick up the slack when things get tough. This creates an environment where you are forced to grow whether you want to or not. Personal growth begins with introspection. When you're on your own, you're left with your thoughts and emotions. There is no one else to distract you, no one else to project your problems onto. It's just you facing yourself, learning to understand who you truly are. This self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. You begin to realize your strengths and weaknesses, your desires, your fears, and your capacity for change. By living alone, you are able to face these truths head on without the need for validation from anyone else. This self-reflection allows you to make the necessary changes to improve yourself. Another powerful aspect of living alone is the opportunity it provides for emotional independence. In relationships, it's easy to become emotionally dependent on another person, to rely on them for your happiness, comfort, or sense of security. But when you live alone, you must learn to provide all of those things for yourself. This doesn't mean you shut out your emotions or avoid seeking help when you need it, but it does mean you become less reliant on others for your emotional well-being. You learn to regulate your own emotions, to find peace within yourself, and to develop the resilience to weather life's ups and downs on your own. This emotional independence is a powerful form of personal growth because it teaches you that you are capable of handling life's challenges by yourself. Living alone also gives you the space to focus on your own needs, desires, and aspirations. In a relationship, it's easy to get caught up in what the other person needs or wants. You may find yourself compromising on your dreams, putting your career or personal goals on hold in order to nurture the relationship. But when you live alone, you have the freedom to pursue your own goals without needing anyone's approval or permission. You can dedicate time and energy to the things that truly matter to you. Whether it's advancing in your career, furthering your education, or simply developing a new hobby, living alone allows you to prioritize your own personal growth without any outside distractions. Living alone also teaches you the value of self-discipline. When you are solely responsible for your well-being, you have to manage your time, finances, and personal routines on your own. This requires a level of discipline and organization that is often difficult to maintain in a relationship. But when you're alone, there is no one to pick up the slack or cover for your mistakes. You have to take full responsibility for every aspect of your life, from the way you manage your finances to the way you maintain your home. This self-discipline translates to all areas of your life, helping you become more focused, organized, and goal-oriented. In relationships, there is often a tendency to rely on the other person for emotional support, validation, or security. While this is a natural part of any partnership, living alone forces you to find these things within yourself. This internal source of strength is one of the most valuable aspects of personal growth. By learning to rely on yourself, you discover just how resilient you really are. You start to understand that no matter what happens, you are strong enough to handle it. This kind of self-sufficiency boosts your confidence and encourages you to keep growing, both emotionally and mentally. Living alone also allows you the freedom to embrace change. When you're in a relationship, there is often a resistance to change, whether it's because you don't want to upset your partner or because you fear how it will affect the dynamic of the relationship. But when you live alone, you have the freedom to evolve at your own pace. You can change your habits, try new things, and step out of your comfort zone without worrying about anyone else's reactions. This creates an environment where personal growth is not only possible, but inevitable. You're constantly challenging yourself to become a better version of yourself without the constraints or limitations that a relationship might impose. Living alone also gives you the space to learn from your mistakes. In a relationship, it's easy to blame others when things go wrong or to lean on someone else for support when you're struggling. But when you're living alone, you have no one to blame but yourself. This forces you to take full responsibility for your actions and decisions. It also teaches you how to learn from your mistakes and failures. Instead of avoiding difficult situations or relying on someone else to fix things, you confront them head on, learn from them, and grow as a person. This accountability is one of the most powerful forms of personal growth, as it teaches you to take control of your life and become the best version of yourself. Finally, living alone helps you to develop a deeper connection with yourself. In a relationship, it's easy to become absorbed in the other person's world, to lose sight of your own identity in the process. But when you live alone, you have the space and time to reconnect with who you truly are. You can focus on your values, your goals, and your sense of purpose without the distractions of another person's needs or opinions. This deep connection with yourself is the foundation of all personal growth. Once you learn to understand, accept, and love yourself, you become unstoppable. You gain the clarity, confidence, and strength to pursue your dreams and to create a life that is uniquely yours. Living alone may not be for everyone, but for those who embrace it, it can be one of the most transformative experiences of their lives. It forces you to grow, to evolve, and to become the best version of yourself. You learn self-reliance, emotional independence, and self-discipline. You become more confident, more resilient, and more focused on your personal goals. And perhaps most importantly, you develop a deep, unshakable connection with yourself, one that will serve as the foundation for all future growth and success. Living alone teaches you the value of independence in a way that no relationship can. When you're in a relationship, it's easy to rely on your partner for support, comfort, and even for validation. You often lean on them for emotional, financial, or physical needs, sometimes to the point where you lose sight of your own capabilities. But when you live alone, you are forced to face life head-on without the cushion of constant support. You must learn to depend on yourself, which creates a powerful sense of independence that is unparalleled. This independence isn't just about doing things on your own. It's about realizing that you are enough. When you live alone, you are in charge of your own destiny. You don't have to wait for permission to go after your dreams, to make bold moves, or to take risks. You can make decisions without considering how they'll affect anyone else. Every choice you make is yours and yours alone. This level of self-determination fosters a sense of confidence and self-sufficiency that is often missing in relationships, where the constant need for compromise can make you feel like you are losing parts of yourself. Independence also means freedom. Freedom to make your own schedule, to design your day as you see fit, to live life without constantly adjusting to someone else's wants and needs. This freedom is not only about physical space, it's also about mental and emotional space. Living alone allows you to think freely, to explore new ideas without feeling like you have to explain yourself or justify your choices to someone else. You can change your routine, try new things, and embrace new challenges without feeling guilty or worried about how it might affect your partner. Furthermore, living alone helps you understand your worth. There's no one around to remind you of your mistakes or to highlight your flaws. You can only rely on your own reflection. This creates an opportunity to confront your own insecurities and weaknesses and to work on improving them. You begin to see your true potential because you are no longer relying on someone else's approval or validation. You start to realize that you are capable of handling life on your own. This boosts your confidence and helps you build a solid foundation of self-respect that is essential for personal growth. Another aspect of independence that comes with living alone is learning how to solve problems without relying on someone else. Life is full of challenges, and in relationships, it's easy to turn to your partner when things get tough. But living alone forces you to confront these challenges on your own, teaching you how to problem solve and make decisions without input from others. This process of figuring things out on your own sharpens your decision-making skills and builds resilience. You begin to trust your instincts and feel confident that you can handle whatever life throws your way. Living alone also offers the opportunity for personal exploration. It provides the space to reflect on your own values, interests, and goals. You can take the time to discover who you truly are without feeling like you need to be something for someone else. Whether it's pursuing hobbies, learning new skills, or traveling to places you've always wanted to visit, living alone allows you the freedom to put yourself first. This self-discovery is essential for understanding your needs and desires and for making life decisions that are aligned with your true self rather than with the needs or expectations of others. As you become more independent, you also begin to learn the importance of self-care. Living alone forces you to take care of yourself in ways that relationships sometimes don't. There is no one to take care of you when you're feeling down, no one to step in when things get tough. It's all up to you. This realization pushes you to take responsibility for your own well-being physically, mentally, and emotionally. You begin to develop habits that support your health and happiness, whether it's exercising regularly, eating better, or setting boundaries that protect your peace. Independence also means creating your own peace. In relationships, it's easy to let conflicts or emotional turmoil affect your sense of calm. But living alone provides you with the space to cultivate peace within yourself. You don't have to compromise your peace for the sake of someone else's happiness or to avoid conflict. You learn how to manage stress, anxiety, and challenges on your own terms, creating a life that is centered around your own sense of well-being. Additionally, living alone gives you a sense of mastery over your own environment. Your home becomes a reflection of who you are, a place where you can fully express yourself. You have control over how you decorate, what music you listen to, and how you spend your time at home. This autonomy in creating your own space provides a deep sense of satisfaction and helps you build an environment that nurtures your growth and happiness. One of the greatest gifts that independence gives you is the ability to choose your relationships based on genuine connection rather than need. When you live alone, you are no longer dependent on anyone for companionship or support. As a result, you begin to form relationships that are rooted in shared values, mutual respect, and authentic connection. You no longer settle for toxic or unfulfilling relationships because you no longer feel the pressure to be in one simply for the sake of being in one. Your self-worth is no longer tied to the approval or attention of another person. Finally, independence teaches you how to embrace solitude. Many people are afraid of being alone, but when you live alone, you learn that solitude is not something to fear. It's in these moments of solitude that you can truly connect with yourself. You have the time to think, to dream, and to plan for the future. Solitude provides the space to reflect on your past and to envision the life you want to create. It's in these quiet moments that your greatest ideas and inspirations can come to light. In conclusion, living alone offers a unique opportunity to develop independence that relationships can rarely provide. It forces you to rely on yourself, to face challenges head on, and to take control of your life. It gives you the freedom to explore who you are and what you truly want, and it empowers you to take responsibility for your happiness and well-being. Living alone is not about isolation, it's about creating a life that is fully your own. And in this process, you find strength, resilience, and an unshakable sense of self that no relationship could ever provide. Living alone doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to stand on your own. It means you've discovered the beauty of self-reliance. You've learned that you are enough. You've stopped looking for someone else to complete you because you know you're already complete. And that is the most powerful thing a person can realize. So don't be afraid of solitude. Embrace it. Learn from it. And when you do decide to bring someone else into your life, you'll do so not because you need them, but because you want them. You'll share your life, your love, and your time, not because you're incomplete without them, but because you are whole and you choose to share that wholeness with another. Let me tell you, living alone beats any relationship because it's in that space of solitude that you discover who you really are. And once you know that, nothing else matters.